Hello, hello, hello. This is Tom from Tom and Ruth Filipino Adventures. Good afternoon, everybody. How is everybody doing? Today I want to talk about get rid of the burdens that you have upon you. Get all the burdens away, all the things that's bothering you. Get all the material things and all the things. What a reason I'm bringing this up. So many of us find ourselves in a situation that we burden ourselves up from what we had before. What I mean by that, we sell everything to get all the burdens off of us. The car, the house, the boat, anything that you have, the tools, everything that you had, all the weed eaters and lawnmowers and all that stuff is gone. So you just said, okay, I am done with it. I'm coming to the Philippines and I'm going to enjoy life. Yet they get here, the first thing they do is, of course, they get married. Second thing they do is, wife wants to buy a piece of property. Okay, so you buy a piece of property. Next thing you know, you're building a house. Next thing you know, no, you built a house and you have a piece of property. Well, you got to have a car to get around. Oh, wait, no. Let's buy a motorcycle. No, we need to buy two because wife needs one. Or maybe the brother needs one. So you buy one, you buy two motorcycles. Say you get away with $1,000. It's not about the price of the money, but you're slave to that item. Here's something else. You think, I'll just buy a tuk-tuk. I'll help her family out. I'll do this, I'll do that. But you find yourself there, and all of a sudden you're here, and you're having to start over again. You have to start all over. You have to buy a tools. You're going to need tools when you're here. You can't go through life with no tools. Then you're going to find a situation you have tools, but what if you need something else? What if you need plumbing supplies? What if you need a pipe wrench to cut those plumbing supplies? What if you need a crescent wrench? So you buy all these things, right? So you get the stuff that you sold in the U.S., and it's like this friend of mine. He's 73 years old. He said today, I cowboyed up. I'm 73, been watching your videos for years. He's a cowboy. He's a friend of an acquaintance of an acquaintance. Just somebody I talked to, I met online here about 4 years ago. He's one of my subscribers, and he's been around on the channel for a while. You guys know him. He used to go by Cowboy, and he's changed his name to something else, but it was Cowboy Up. The thing about it is, it's really nice, is now he bought himself a bus, and he sold everything he had. He was a cowboy. He was literally a cowboy, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and that's what he did all his life. So he had a small farm, he had a ranch, and raised cattle out in Arizona. And he decided, he said, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually just get rid of all this stuff. I'm going to cowboy up. I'm going to buy me a bus, and I'm going to travel around. So that's what he's doing. Well, he talked about the burdens, and I got to thinking. Well, he said, Tom, you bought the house. Why did you buy the house? Well, I was buying it for them more so than me, because I want them to have a future. I want them, my wife and my daughter, my beautiful wife and daughter, to have a house. I want them to have a future. I want them to have more. Okay, so you did that. Then you find yourself, you want to buy a van. Then you went and bought a van. Then you went and bought tools. Then you had a garage. And then you did this. And I said, yeah, you're right. I cowboyed up, but I cowboyed up here, and I should have maybe stayed over there and cowboyed up there. So what was the right thing to do? But then sometimes all you need was just to get away. Maybe all you need to get away for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years to recruit in Asia. Maybe you decided you should have went to Vietnam or Bali or Cambodia or Thailand or Laos or whatever, right? So you find yourself in that situation, and the guys are telling me, Tom, I've got more burdens now, and I'm more stressed out. I am so stressed out now, I really don't know what to do. What do you mean you're stressed out? Well, now I got property. I married my wife a year ago. Now, not only did I have all that stuff, it seems I have more, and all that stuff is on me, and I'm stressed out. My kids got to go to school. I got my stepdaughter and stepson. They got to go to school, so I'm stuck. I'm in the same thing I was in the States. I'm stuck. We can't go anywhere. We can't go to the park. We can't visit, even though there's great things to do, but he said it's 1/10 of what you can't. It's not like you walk in a park and take a dog with you and go to a dog park. They have dog parks, but they don't have dog parks here. You get, and you're out by the highway, you get run over. So I think a lot of times what you have to do, you have to make the decision that how much are you going to have in the burdens upon you. So as an American, a foreigner here, I think a lot of times you really need to think on everything that you need to do for yourself, but then your family also. But if you're there in the States, would it have been any different? I don't know if it would. Each person is different. So a lot of guys say, man, I am so stressed out in the States, I come here. Well, I'm just going to tell you something. Before you sell everything you have, and before you do that, maybe you want to burden yourself, get rid of that stuff, a lot of it, keep your house or keep your apartment or keep whatever that you have, and then maybe come here for a year. Or figure out a way to occupy that place that you have there, rent it out for a year or whatever, and then come here. But the guy was telling me today, my friend is 73, he said, now I wish I did this 10 years ago, Tom, when I retired. Why didn't I do this 10 years ago? He said, you opened my eyes of it. I was thinking of coming to Cambodia and Laos, and why would I do that? My home's here. I'm a cowboy. I can't ride no horses there. I can't do anything. I sold all my horses, but I know where I can go back and ride them again. I have friends in Colorado. I have friends in Wyoming. I have friends in Montana. I go up there and we can go riding horses all we want. In fact, he used to break horses. That was his deal. That was his gig. The thing of it is, more than anything else is, and I think a lot of guys don't really realize, when you come here to the Philippines, you think, okay, pie in the sky, which is, it is. I'm not taking that away. But then again, too, when you're here, don't get yourselves burdened with all the things that you have here. So you get a relationship, you may have a family, you may have a baby, you may have 2 babies. All of a sudden, they got to go to school, and what you wanted to do is travel around. You're not traveling around no more. And you're probably not a spring chicken like you once were. If you're in your 60s, you're not a spring chicken as you was. So you don't really get to go and do things that you really wanted to do when you wanted to do them, because you're strapped and you're tapped. You can't do anything. But if you find a Filipina that doesn't have kids and doesn't want kids, or not ready right now, maybe you can travel islands for a year or 2 and then make a decision. But so many guys come here and they find themselves strapped with a marriage, a relationship. They can't leave because they're taking care of the sister's kids, or they can't do things because they're taking care of mama and papa. They can't go nowhere because they're taking care of things. And they find themselves in a situation where they're in the same rut they were in before. It's just it took a year down the road or 2 years down the road, and they find themselves, man, I'm in the same rut I was 2 years ago, or a year ago, or 6 months ago. So the guy, cowboy, was telling me today, he says, I went to Quartzsite, had a great time, enough for that, had enough, goes on 10 days. He said, I left there, missed you out there, but I went to this other place, stayed out there a few days, and then went to this other place. I'm camping by myself. I like living by myself, as you know. But then I get in the city and I do whatever I want. Then I won't go do whatever I want to do. I just go do it. But get this, I'm saving money. It's not costing me a dime to do anything, just gas, fuel, maintenance, food, insurance, 73. But as you know, more than anything else on this earth, when the guys come here, it puts you out of the loop and you're into another loop. And then they find themselves healthy, unhealthy. Insurance is, forget about it. I don't even want to go down the road of insurance. I don't want to go down that road. Forget about it. Please pray to the Lord that you always stay healthy, because guess what? Insurance here is just almost irrelevant. Cards, insurance, Pacific Prime, Aetna, United, all these companies, Russell, all these companies are out there. And you find yourself in a situation is, what the heck's going on? What happened? So, okay, at least in the States, oh, I hate it because it's so costly in insurance. Well, you know what? Figure it out. You have more opportunity to figure it out there than you do here. I can tell you that for sure. There's only this many here. That's it. And even in-house companies. And 80% of them are not accepted anymore at any hospital. But the burden now is upon you to find it for yourself and family and kids and everything else, even though they have what they call Philippine Health and all the others that they have. But it only covers like 10 or 20% of the bills now, where it used to cover 100% of the bills because they're bankrupt. So in the States, you just figure it out. Here, you just figure it out. But I want to say, do not get burdened with things here. Don't get burdened with all the things that you had in the States that you left there for, and you're back here in your same situation. It's almost like this. Once you create that habit, you're down the road and you create that habit, you're doing the same thing. You break the habit, you come here, and for a year, everything's fine the first few months or a year or 2 years down the road, and you go through all the steps and get your permanent visa and you get all the things together, then you find yourself and says, man, I will never, ever go back to the States. But then this guy here, that's what he said, not the cowboy, but this other guy emailed me today. He said, I'm burdened up to my limit. I can't take it anymore. I'm strapped to the house. The kids, kids got to go to school. I can't go anywhere. Okay, I go to the town. I go to the mall. I go to Starbucks. I can do that in the States. I can't go. I can't travel. I retired to travel. Well, it's kind of like you want to say, dude, why did you get married? And why did you find someone with kids or whatever, whatever? I mean, you don't know. Another guy, the same thing last week messaged me. He says, listen, we don't have kids, but we're responsible for the sister's kids. What do you mean? We're sisters OFW. And my wife watches the kids. Okay, so what do you do with that? So there you go. You find yourself, now he's strapped. But his wife, they don't have kids, but yet she's watching the OFW's kids, sister's kids, because there's family members, but they're not responsible enough to take care to help along, right? Because they're younger and they don't care, and they're not going to make sure they're fed, and they don't make sure they go to school. They're going to make sure to brush your teeth and things like that. So he said, I'm in the same situation. What do you do to get out of it? I said, leave. Grab her, leave. Go to Vietnam. Go to Cambodia. Go somewhere else. Go to Hong Kong. Go somewhere else. Go to Japan. I don't want to go to those places. I've already been in those places. They're great, fantastic, great places to be. I don't want to go to Thailand no more. I don't want to go to Cambodia. Well, you're here in the Philippines. What are you going to do then? Right? He says, I don't know what to do. I said, I can't tell you what to do. But the guys are telling me. And in other words, they're venting to me. They're venting and telling me, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Well, common sense tell you, what are you going to do? Do you make a decision, okay, I'm going to go back to the States? I'm going to go to China? What are you going to do? Right? So a lot of times what happens is a lot of guys are just stuck, and they're never going to get out of that situation. Guys, be careful. Before you plan to jump the ship and the other ship is okay, there may be a hole in the bottom of the ship you just jumped into, and this ship is probably fine you're already on. Make sure you take care of the burdens that you have, but don't get into the same burdens here. Because all you got to do is do this. It's the same thing. I know sometimes that the cowboy was telling me this morning that the guys were teasing him. He says, by the time you got back out on the road and be a cowboy again, instead of strapped to your farm and strapped to everything else, and you never could leave. Well, the same thing goes with the guy that's already here, that he's burdened. I'm burdened. I have now a house. I'm building a house. I'm building me a house here. I have a house in Palawan that I don't want and I don't need. Palawan's nice and beautiful and wonderful. But after you stay on the beach a while, as you know, a year, you're done with it. You get tired of beach life. I can vouch for that. I can say high five to that because I lived on the beach in New Smyrna Beach, Florida. Had a house right on the beach. I rented the house. I didn't own it, but I still have upkeep all my stuff. Well, upkeep, it rusts. Doesn't matter what it is. It's going to rust. It's salt water. What's going to happen to anything that you have? Brand new car, rusted to pieces. So what do you do, right? So I lived there for 4 years, 5 years. My desire is to live on the beach, to visit it, not to live on it, because I did that. Sleep on it. I woke up with it. I fished on it. I drank beer on it. I did everything in the world on that beach. I went swimming. I did everything. Been there, done that. So is other adventures in life. But that's the thing. A lot of guys don't realize that they're selling everything and coming here to the Philippines. But what if you sell everything you have? You get here and say, okay, I need to go buy tools. I need to buy solar that I had in the States. I need to go buy this and that. And you find yourself, you get to start all over again. The only thing I'm saying is, be careful, guys. Think before you sell. Think before you walk. Think before you do. Because you don't know what's going to curtail you being here. Guy told me, well, I never left States before in my life. I come here, and I'm married, and she has stepchildren, and then I did not realize that, oh, they got to go to school, and so we can't go anywhere. I'm stuck. So in San Fernando, I just go to the mall. Then I go to another mall. Then I go get coffee. I come back home. I do the same thing 3 or 4 times a week. I'm done with it. What do? I can't go anywhere. Well, they're out of school. They're only out of school 6 or 8 weeks. They're not out of school, 12, 14 weeks. They're out of school 6 weeks. It's back to school again. So how much traveling can I do in 6 weeks? 6 places? 3 places? 8 places? Guys, be prepared. God bless. See you next time.